Okay, you all good? Let's do it. Hello and welcome to the B2C Lead Generation Podcast.
Welcome back to the B2C Lead Gen Podcast. My name is Daniel Hauet here with Simon Delaney, and this is episode 62, Leads and Call Centers, how to get them working in harmony. And today we have Kilian Menestre and Leo Hauet from Hipto joining us. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you? Good. Hey, guys.
Last time we saw you was at Lead Gen World. I briefly connected with you outside a pub in a London back street somewhere. You were all very drunk. I can't remember the conversation that much. I'm glad that you've made it back to Paris okay. You have a good trip?
Yeah, a really good trip. Make it safe back home. It was a good night, yes. It was a really good night.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for sticking to your drunken promise and coming on. We appreciate it. Guys, let's dive in. Let's start with Hipto. Tell us what you guys do.
So we are the two co-founders of Ipso. Ipso, we are a French company, a lead gen company on the B2C market. We work on the French market, but also since the beginning of the year on the Spanish and the Italian market, launching the UK and hopefully in 2023 the US market. We are approximately 50% in the company, and we work in the lead gen in 5 main verticals: insurance, telecommunication, energy, home services, and education. So that's what's Ipto.
Nice. And you guys work with call centers. That's kind of the point of this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So how are you connected with the call centers? How does that work?
Actually, we know really well all the call center industry. For myself, I spent, before we launched Hipto, I spent 5 years in Casablanca in Morocco. Morocco is one of the biggest places for offshoring of the call center for the French market. So I own my call center. I was selling insurance by phone. So actually, I was a big lead buyer on the French market. And that's why we want to start Hipto. Once I finished with this company, I didn't find, when I was buying my leads, a great solution that was really well implemented with what my sales team and my tele operators needed to make some good sales. So that's why we launched Hipto, and that's how we are related to the call center industry. And we all, mainly our clients are call centers, so we talk to them each day, and we are really approach them.
What was the main problem you had when you were buying leads? Then what was the key issue?
There had 2 main problems for me. In my times, the lead gen, the hot lead, wasn't something that was really implemented. It was really a cold call on big database. The main goal when I was with my call center was buying large volume of data, the cheaper cost possible, and to implement that in some auto dialer system. And when I reached like 1% of conversion rate, it was the best thing I can get. So what happened is that it had mainly 4 big problems. The first one was the frustration that my teleoperators had on doing that 1%. To make an example, is a teleoperator that's phoning all day long, 8 a.m. until 7, and making only 1 sales a day. So for me, it was impossible. So a lack of productivity, a lot of frustration, a loss of time, because you are spending money on database, but spending money also on phone calls, on structures, on salary, and all that to reach that 1% goal. So it was really the big problem for me. And so I was in the heart of the call center, and I saw all the market moving between the cold call and the hot leads. So that's why the main problem I was sorry for my English, I was looking at.
Yeah, and I guess you had high staff turnover as well, because they weren't being very successful with the data.
Yeah, exactly. When you're on the call center industry, one of the main pain point is the staff. how can you have a good staff, a good salesperson, and how can you maintain them long term? It's the same ratio of turnover than in the San Francisco in the Silicon Valley. All the developers, they stay 1 year and a half in Morocco. If you can have somebody for 1 year and a half in your office, you reach something really good, So, and that's one of it, because the gasoline of a good sales is good leads. And for years and years, they had done some good leads. So that's why one of the reasons that we made Ipso, and that's one of the big pain point of the call center before.
Yeah.
So guys, to use your own expression there, cold leads and hot leads, which I quite like, hot leads. I assume by that you mean just leads that have intent, ready for sales. Do you only work with providing leads that do have more intent, or do you do both? And if so, how do you encourage different treatments from the call centers?
If your question is if we only sell hot leads at intent, yes, we only do that. For us, in our opinion at Hipto, it's one of our big thing is cold will be dead in 4 or 5 years. One of the main reasons is the regulation, GDPR. In France, we have really strong regulation on I think in the UK is the same on all the non-intent call. In the industries we are working, insurance, telecommunication, energies, they are strongly regulated. So all of this regulation, I think cold call will not have a really good future. Sorry.
Do you have to educate the call centers that are buying the leads in how to treat the hot leads differently because they're used to calling cold data?
Yeah, one of the things that we noticed when we launched Ipso is the mentality of the salesperson. When you're on a cold base, you are used to have some doors on the phone, some people hung up, and you're a little bit like aggressive in your sales type, in your sales style. Okay, but on the hot leads, the people you have on the phone, they want your phone. They know that you're going to phone, that you're going to answer the phone and all that. So they're waiting for the phone call. And the position of the sales, in the salesperson, you need to change it. And on the beginning, and when we launched Ipso, it was difficult because the teleoperator, they was like phoning like crazy on the phone. We were like a little bit aggressive on the phone on the sales side. And say, oh, guys, please calm down. The guy you have on the phone, he wants your phone, he wants your solution, so you have time. And that's we have to a little bit to educate the people. But once you pass this part, it's a magic for them because to re-explain what I explained before, you pass from 1 sales a day to 5 to 10 sales a day. So for someone who is working and usually is interested that are offshore with long hour contracts on the like on French it's 35 hours, but in Morocco it's 44 hours the contract. So you spend 44 hours a week on the phone, hanging up all day long, and on the next day you're having some people who wants to speak to you, who's going to buy to you and all that. So it's where the magic happens. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so, even for the sales, I think now they are not sales, they are experts. And they will help the consumer in their subscription and resiliation of their contract. And it changed totally the way of working of a call center. It will be the sale as an expert.
And one thing that's important, Simon, is we made an exercise at the beginning of Hipto. We tried to say, okay, what's the secret sauce of a good sales? What do you need to have for a good telesales? And for us, there is 4 main things. First of all,
let me get a pen.
Yeah. First of all, you need, and that's why we're talking today, a very good lead.
Yep.
Okay. Secondly, you need a good salesperson. Mm-hmm. And there is 2 things that sometimes and really often lead vendors, lead buyers and that, they forget the 2 things. The first thing is what we call at Ipto the call management, the call strategy. Yep. An example, you can have the best salesperson, the best lead, but if you call him at midnight with the unknown number, you will never sell him. So at what time you should call him, it's one thing, but how you should call him, what etiquette you should put him on the phone, what calling strategy, manual calling, predictive calling, what's the rules you need to say, okay, he's on answering machine, he's an insurance lead on answering machine, I need to phone him back 3 hours later, 4 hours later. And there is a lot of tools on the market that are doing the phone system, and one of the big strengths of Hipto also and of our strategy is to manage and to have some technology that are between the leads and the phone solution.
So you're actually managing the dialing strategy for some of your clients?
We are not managing the dialing, but we are giving some expertise and we are giving some advice on how you need to call the lead and to manage your call. There is something also that's happening a lot right now is the number that pass in spam. There is as I know, not a really good tool except to be a lead and to see if your number is spamming. So there is plenty of things on the calling strategy, and you need to implement that to have a good sale. And the first thing that make a good sales is what we call the dashboarding, the feedback loop, and that's really important. When you send some lead, it's not a one-way relationship; it's a two-way relationship. We need to have some feedback on, and in real time, we have some technology on that. So to see, okay, on the lead, not only the lead that makes sales, but the lead that will not answer, the lead that are false number, the lead that are hang up on the phone, all that, to monitor and to feed our campaign. And with that, we are feeding our campaign, and we can deliver some lead. And that we monitor that in real time. And we, for our use case at Ipso, what we've done, we give in the hand of the media buyer a dashboard in real time on the lead that they're making in real time. What are they doing on the phone? So we have a strong relationship between the media buyer who is making the lead and the teleconsultant who is phoning the lead. And this is one of the first things that make a good sales. So a good salesperson, a good lead, a good dashboarding on the lead, and a good phone management. If you have all those other stuff for us, you can be ready to have a good campaign or a good telesales campaign.
Yeah, I can imagine what you sit doing all day is looking at that dashboard and then going, hold on, agent number 2 is not making enough calls. But it's a really good point on that dashboard. So you've heard we talk about feedback loops a lot and the need for real time, but I agree 100% on the dashboard. So in the past, when I've been involved like heavily with call centers, one of the greatest call center relationships that we ever had was exactly that. We had a dashboard that had the name of every single agent. We had it on a screen in the office, and we could see what they were doing in real time. We could see how many leads were going in, what the outcomes of the leads were, what the acceptance rate was, what the sales rate was by agent, their conversion rate, and then the feedback coming in all the time. And I cannot tell you, as a lead generator, and you've explained it perfectly, how much that involves absolutely everybody in the performance of those leads. Because instantly, all we used to do all day is sit looking at a dashboard and thinking, we need to make more sales. How can we make the leads better? We need to make the leads better. Something's got to change, you know. We'd start looking at different agents, who were converting, everything else. Do you know what? I've never spoken about that before, but 100% that dashboarding is the best thing that can happen between a lead generator and a lead buyer.
Exactly. And one thing that I have a little story on that. One day, you know media buyers, how they are. It's a bit like they like to be in front of their computer, buying on the platforms and to be in their world. And one time I bring one of my media buyers into a call center. He sat right next to the telesales person, having on the double phone, and he came back to the office, and all his strategy, his media buying strategy changed, and we make like crazy things on the campaign. And now in our integration process at Ipso, when you come and you're a new media buyer, we bring you on the call center of our clients. And that's one of the things that's really important, because this industry it's fantastic. It's when you're on the office and you see 150% that are selling all day long and all that, like the Wolf of Wall Street, is incredible. And when you bring the media buyers in the thing, like in the jungle of the sales, you have something that's happening, and it's one thing that each person that comes at Ipto, they must go and see what's happening over there. And that changed the game.
And regarding the dashboarding, one interesting story also, I think. We met at Hipto because we were friends, and I went to the call center of Kilian in Casablanca, and the job of Kilian was managing the 70 people he had selling by phone insurance, but managing by giving them gifts, by making some teams. So you are the red, you are the blue, and the teams that are making the most sales are winning. And to be frank, that's the job of the call center, to make animation on the with the salesperson to try to get more sales. But without a good dashboarding, you cannot do the animation, especially with leads that you are paying with a high price. You have to imagine they were paying like a few cents their contact with the call base, and now they are paying a lot of euro for a contact. So they need to manage it really well, and the dashboard is one way to manage things really well, and then they can be focused on what the job is to manage the team and to make things work.
Yes, good point. And one thing I just wanted to ask you quickly. So when you first contacted like the first call center you worked with in Casablanca under whatever vertical it was, they're used to buying cold data at like 10p a record, whatever, 1p a record. How hard was it convincing them to start paying £10 a lead or €10, €15 a lead? Was it your relationship with them, or did you have to do a test? How did that happen?
So we had a lot of door closed, because when you go and see a call center and say, okay guys, you're going to pay a lead €20, and before you are paying leads, call data 20 cents, door was closed. So one thing that we put is we always go back to the dashboarding. We create dashboarding and we put a little thing on the right corner that was the cost of acquisition. Okay. And when we put that, and first of all, we had to offer the leads, it's like, okay, you don't want to pay €20, let me prove that the cost of acquisition. And in the cost of acquisition, we didn't put only the price of the lead and the conversion rate. We put also the price of the call center, the salary of the teleoperator, the contribution, etc. And what we eventually with Hotlead, the cost of acquisition was much lower than on a call basis, because he sold more, but also his productivity, the productivity of the salesperson. You pay the same guy on the same basis, but he had 10 times, 20 more times sales. The productivity is here. The productivity on the phone system. To phone 100,000 lines between 100 lines, it's not the same cost. So all that scene and all that big mess put together, and you put the conversion rate, and that's how we convince them.
And the beauty of the model is that I think everybody is aligned. For the prospect, you ask to be called, and then an expert will call you. But also for the expert, a salesperson have commission on their sales. And if you do 1 sale a day or 10 sales a day, it's not the same. So I think that's the beauty of the model with the hot leads, is the alignment you have between the prospect and for sure us, the lead vendor, but also the salesperson, the clients, and stuff. We are all aligned on the same objective.
A little story to jump on what Leo was saying. When we started Ipso together and we were like knocking down call centers, they use first of all Hipto as a management system. They had like big office with 100 sales on them, and they say, okay, for the best sale of the week, I put you 1 or 2 days on the Hipto campaign, and that's how we sell how we started to sell it and all that. So that's like
It's like winning the car, getting the Hipto leads.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, some of our clients are offering some car for the best sales. It's not just a story.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Guys, I had a list of questions to go through, and I think actually we've sort of answered them all just naturally as we've talked through them all. But yeah, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you guys, because I think your ethos and the kind of beliefs you have really fit in well with the kind of the stuff we discuss on this podcast. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you and listening to you and listening to the kind of the ideas you have. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
And I just want to ask one other question. What's next for Hipto? So you're currently at 50 people. You're live in 3 countries. Going to be live in another 3 soon. Are you going after some of the big lead generators that we all know and love?
Two French boys that started from the bottom. We want to go up, and the American dream. I think I would say the US it's the biggest lead market, I think, and we are going there in the next year. So
no, but to be frank, guys, it was really a pleasure for us to make this first conference in London, to meet you guys. We meet other people from other companies that was really interesting, and they will share a lot of their history, of their background and stuff. So we are not going through them, but we are going with them, and because we think there is plenty of things to do, and there is some place for everyone here, we think.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's a big dream, and so thank you to you guys for the podcast, and
yes, thanks a lot, guys. It was a pleasure to.
Thank you, guys. Cheers for that.
Nice one.
Thanks for listening to the B2C Lead Generation podcast. Be sure to hit subscribe to hear more from those at the very cutting edge of the lead gen world.